Thank you all for coming. Welcome. We're looking forward to the program today. My name is Will Crowley. I'm the 2018 president of NEBA.
Does the city of Tallahassee currently have an ethical challenge? As a city commissioner, what would you do to strengthen the city's ethics code and the independent ethics board's ability to enforce it? We can start with you, Diane, and then next on that will be Henry, then Howard, and then Bob Lotane on this first question.
Thank you for the question. I actually spent 19 years working for the state of Florida, who has a very good ethic policy. So much so that when you may remember that when I ran for office, I had to quit my job in order to run. That's just how serious they are about ethics. And I think that we here can learn from that, from some things that are already in place to strengthen our ethics here. Do we have a challenge? Yes, but it's also an opportunity to do the right thing. And that's what ethics is. Doing the right thing, even when no one else is looking. So we can do it. We can do it, Tallahassee. We can do it. With the help of those of you in this room and other citizens, we can create a strong ethics policy that will be enforced. Thank you.
I believe Tallahassee does have an ethics problem. And we need to be able to give the ethics committee more power to be able to actually combat the problems that we actually have in the city. Just being able to give them the power to actually bring charges against the people who are actually doing the wrongdoings. I believe that we need to do more. There needs to be more transparency. There needs to be more accountability in public office. So we need an ethics program that actually works. Something that's actually going to stop people from offending. Actually, and then actually having people who are in office who actually care about the people, who actually have morals and values, and who are not just here just to fill their pockets and to help their friends. We need to help the community as a whole, and that's what I believe we need to do.
Thank you. When government works in the sunshine and encourages its citizens to ask questions, to participate in its meetings, makes public records readily accessible, then the citizens are more likely to trust their government. But if the government takes actions that appears to the citizens that they're hiding things, the citizens lose trust. And that's the situation that appears that we have now in Tallahassee. The citizens have a basic gut feeling of right and wrong. Our elected officials and other officials should have that same feeling. Our government officials should avoid any action that might be or appears to have a conflict of interest. If they have to start discussing if this is legal or not legal, their proposed action, they shouldn't be doing it. A perceived conflict of interest is a conflict of interest. We have to correct the situation in Tallahassee.
I think if you don't realize there's an ethics problem in this town, you've probably been in a coma for a year. Obviously, we've got some serious problems here that are identified by Dr. Jackson, by the Democrat, by Steve Stewart, by the TV stations. I mean, this was a tsunami that hit us. I actually filed to run for this office after Memorial Day last year, so it's been almost a year. And when we filed, there really was no known, Irwin probably knew some things or whatever, but I didn't consider that a reason to run. 2 weeks after we filed, the subpoenas started raining all over the city, and now we kind of know what we're facing, and we're just trying to hope that it will get done so we can move on from there. I think that the voters in 2014 clearly voted to have a tougher ethics code and an ethics panel with teeth tougher than the state ethics laws. It's time they got it. I don't want to point fingers. For whatever reason, it's time we do it. I think the biggest definition, I was talking to Greg on the radio last week about this.
On to the next series of questions. Again, we're going to start with, we're going to start with Henry, then Howard, and then Lotane, and then Diane. This is a question. In your opinion, what are the biggest issues facing Tallahassee?
The biggest issue is retaining our talent and growing our economy here. We need to be able to find solutions to keep our brightest students and our brightest minds here in Tallahassee. We are developing the future minds, but then again, when they graduate, they leave and they go other places. We need to retain these minds, put them to work here in the city so that the city can advance from them actually being here. We need to provide higher paying wage jobs here. We need to bring manufacturing into the city. We need to develop our economy so that our local businesses are getting the support that they need and that we're retaining all of our students. Thank you.
Okay, Howard?
There appears to be a problem with the crime rate in Tallahassee that we are being exposed to. That's totally unacceptable. And we need to fix that problem. I believe that there's education that's going to be needed to do this, but this is a safety issue and it's among the most important that our city faces. Our police officers have a dangerous job, but our citizens also need to be treated equally and respected. Respect has to be on both sides, officer and citizen. Until we get to that point, we're going to have problems. The ethics in a situation here needs to be addressed. A perceived conflict of interest is a conflict of interest. End of story. And those two issues need to be addressed.
Okay, thank you. Bob?
I agree with both Henry and Howard, but I'm going to go with Henry, that expanding and diversifying the economy is probably the most important thing right now. It's great that we have government here, we're the capital, and it's great that we're a university town. Without those two things, we'd be Lake City, and we have to appreciate those. But as Henry said, there is not, if you're not into those two things and you graduate from FAMU or FSU here, you really don't have anything to do, or even high school. So we need to provide more opportunities, more jobs that you can raise a family on to be able to keep people here and stop the brain drain. But also we have a high poverty rate here and a high crime rate. A lot of that is lack of opportunity. Provide opportunity and some of those problems will begin to alleviate themselves.
Visit votewilliamscox.com and you will find these issues listed. Number 1, greater transparency, accountability, and ethical behavior. Access to their city commissioners who will listen to and address their concerns. Revitalize neighborhoods. An opportunity to own businesses and to earn livable wages through employment. To feel safe at home and at play in any neighborhood in Tallahassee. A reasonable and workable plan for environmental sustainability and use of renewable energy. Robust programs for children, youth, senior citizens, and the underserved. And incentives to retain local talent to help build and maintain a strong sense of community. Yes, that's my laundry list of what I see the issues are here in Tallahassee. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Okay, the next question, we'll start with the answers with Howard and Bob Lotane and then Diane and then Henry. And this is the question: what aspects of your current or most recent job has best prepared you to become a city commissioner? Howard, we'll start with you.
Thank you. So I served 3 terms as Wakulla County Commissioner. I dealt with the issues of ethics, I dealt with the issues of the budget, I dealt with the issues of the environment. The environment for me was one of my most important issues. The bike pedestrian path was an issue that I was early involved with and pitched to the city of Tallahassee and also to Leon County, and they received it very favorably. And if you go down to Wakulla County now, you will see miles and miles of bike pedestrian paths which provide the opportunity for more business, more recreation, and a healthy lifestyle. That bike trail is designed to interconnect with the multiple trails around the other counties. And those type of things increase and better our quality of life.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. I believe that I started out talking about a lot of my business experience back in the beginning of my career. That's only a fraction of what I've done in business, but I've also been in government also. I've worked in state government, and I've worked up at the highest levels at the Capitol. So I understand when business and government are working well together, things go well, but things can go, I can also understand when government can screw up business and vice versa. So I think having an understanding of both worlds will aid me well. And in my most recent jobs, in the PR jobs that I've had, they've been working with companies, with business before government, and trying to get them, where they need to be. So I understand the whole complex nature of that, of the two.
Okay.
I've been fortunate enough to work for private, public, and international sectors. But the most important work that I believe that I've done that equips me for this position is that I've worked with our citizens. I've worked through the school systems as volunteers. I worked on community projects where I've had an opportunity to meet many of my fellow citizens here in the city. I managed a baseball park because I'm the mother of 3 sons, and we did football, basketball, and baseball. And I still manage that baseball park, Capitol Park Baseball, the prettiest park in the city. But I've also worked on other community projects. I currently serve on the Planning Commission. And on the Planning Commission, I'm that commissioner who always asks, what did the citizens say about this? How many letters went out to let folks know what's about to happen? And how many did we hear from? I'm concerned about what you're concerned about. I am not running for office for me. I'm running for office for us. Thank you.
Okay. Henry? I think you know.
Well, I've worked in a couple of different industries here in Tallahassee. I've worked for the school board, I worked for the state, and now I'm a local business owner. I have experience with being close with the community. When I was working with the school board, I worked in the cafeteria. I worked with the kids. I listened to the kids, and sometimes it comes down to being one of the people and being for the people. I'm only here to be able to lift up our people's voices in the community and help everyone. I might not have 20 years of experience in small businesses, but I'm here for the small businesses, and I'm here to listen to everything that you guys have to say. My whole thing is just listening and being part of you, part of the community.
Okay. Questions, all 4 candidates. Here's the first question. Howard, this is for you. Please explain your desire to raise the minimum wage to $15 an hour, and do you currently own a business?
Good. Let's see. Good, thank you. So I believe everyone should be able to earn a wage that is a livable wage. We're sitting in a room, this room's filled with people that, for the most part, we've made it. We're not out there struggling like a lot of the other people are. And unless we recognize that, unless we understand that that a rising tide rises all ships, floats all ships, and that we have to take those that are these lower wage earners and bring them up to a wage that they can live at. It used to be one salary provided enough income for the family to live on. Now it's 2, and those salaries still don't do it. How many in this room could work at the minimum wage here and support and live in a way that they think is appropriate? Thank you.
The Leon County Commission recently proposed to form a Children's Services Council to provide services many believe are already being provided. The proposed Children's Service Council will have a separate taxing authority. Do you support this proposal? Why or why not?
You're going to have me answer this question in front of John Daly, aren't you? No, actually, you mentioned children and you got my attention. You mentioned a new tax and you really got my attention. Anything, whether it's children, whether it's the CRA, something which this is a similar setup as that. Anytime you're asking us to add new taxes onto people, we've said it a few times today, the devil's in the details. I am wide open to looking at this and discussing it and all, but we just need a little bit more meat on the bone before we can make an intelligent decision. There are many ways we can help children. You know, Mary Ann Lindley came out yesterday and said she'd rather just see, if you're going to raise the millage, just raise the millage and keep the control with elected officials that are elected by all of you. You know, that gets my attention a little bit more. What's in this thing? Is it something that every year the money's going to be gone, or are we going to put it into affordable housing that will still be here? You know, a lot of questions to answer, but I'm wide open on it.
Okay, Diane, you're next.
I know that in other cities in the state of Florida, they're wrestling with the same kind of issue. No one wants to hear about new taxes, especially when you're not sure what's happening with the ones you're already paying. And so I believe that we do need to find out more about what it would actually mean. What is the real plan? I'm for children. I've spent my entire life. I'm a mother. I actually grew some children. So I'm definitely for children. But I want to make sure that what we're doing is indeed for the children and not for people who are feeling real good right now about the children, but later on we won't be able to show anything. One of the things that I find in our city is that we tend to throw money at issues, but we don't go back to measure sometimes to figure out if it's been effective or not. We need to really study this because people are paying attention now. We may not have been paying attention in the past, but we are paying attention now. We need more details.
Thank you. So, in recent weeks, we've had several articles in the Tallahassee Democrat. My View by Brian Deloge and another person. And actually, I agree with just about everything that was said in those articles. I'm all about kids. I wouldn't have been dedicating my life to volunteer at CMS clinics for approximately 30 years and here in Tallahassee for the last 15. But at the same time, I want to know what is going to be, what this money is raised for, how it's going to happen. There's no definition of what is taking place except let's pass a tax. And that doesn't fly with me. I think that we need to make sure that our children get the services and are funded properly, but we need to know a lot more before we can entertain moving forward on this.
I pretty much agree with everyone else on this panel. Just because the proposal has the children name at the beginning of it doesn't mean that it's actually going to do what it says it's going to do. We do need to study more of the cost effectiveness and to see if we actually need these programs, because some of the things that they're trying to get the money for, we already have programs in place for that. So instead of putting more burden on our taxpayers by raising the property taxes, we need to look for other alternatives, maybe to boost up the programs that we already have. Like I said, we're still recovering from a recession, so I don't believe with how it is right now and the vagueness of it, I don't believe that I will vote on it.
Thank you. Well, we're going to wrap this up, candidates and members of NEBA, and ask for each one of the candidates to take 2 minutes to wrap up on what they'd like to say to this particular group. Henry, we'll start with you and we'll work our way down to Bob Lopine.
Once again, I'm Henry Adelusi. I would like to thank NEBA for having me here today. It was a wonderful experience. When leaving here today, I do want you guys to remember one thing, and that is that everyone is gifted. It's just that some people never open up their package. And this quote describes the city of Tallahassee because we are gifted. But it's time to open our package. It is time to use our God-given gifts. We need to foster meaningful relationships with homegrown local businesses. We must not compromise the city's heritage by cutting down all of its beautiful trees. We must stand with support of our local police department while they tackle the crime rate in Tallahassee. Together, we can create the city of tomorrow through innovation and advanced technologies. With all of us together, we can move the city into a new era of prosperity and economic growth. But we must do it all together as one. Thank you.
Thank you. Howard Kessler. I'm going to devote half of my time to small business. And I feel that small business is the backbone of our community and of the United States, actually. But I think oftentimes small businesses are taken for granted. How would you feel if you were doing business with an entity for many years and all of a sudden you read in the newspaper that all new customers are going to get a $100 gift certificate? How would you feel? Would you feel like chopped liver? I don't know. But you wouldn't feel too good. And I ask you to remember the small business in the light of the Girl Scouts with their motto that make new friends but keep the old. One is silver, the other is gold. We need to appreciate and value our small business. They are the basis of the economic vitality of Tallahassee. And at the same time, we can go out and look for new businesses, but we cannot ignore the small business people. On the issue of Tallahassee ethics and crime, these are serious issues. Whether it's perception or beyond perception, those issues have to be formally addressed and put to rest. No matter who you elect in the upcoming election, Tallahassee, the city of Tallahassee, has a unique opportunity, and you, the citizens, have the ability to make that opportunity, and that is 3 out of the 5 city commissioners will be new. There's an opportunity to change around things from the way maybe things were being done to a new direction for the city of Tallahassee, to send a loud and strong message to those that are looking to possibly come here and invite them to come. So, thank you very much. Howard Kessler, City Commission.
Again, I invite you to visit me at www.votewilliamscox.com, and you will find this statement from me. As your city commissioner, you can call on and count on me to serve the needs of all citizens. 32 years of public and private sector work experience and working with you have resulted in improving the lives of citizens and bettering our neighborhoods. Frontline experience as a volunteer, contributor, and lead of many community projects has provided me the relationships needed to put thoughts into action. This work needs to continue, and with your support, it will. I also included a final statement, and I'll leave this with you. I will listen to you, learn from you, and use my knowledge, skills, and abilities to lead the fight to keep our neighborhoods vibrant and viable. That is my promise to you. And included in those neighborhoods are our businesses. Small businesses have been the mainstay of our community. During the Great Recession, it was small business that kept us afloat. And we continue to want to promote and serve small business. Now, we're not partial just to small businesses because we want small businesses to grow into larger businesses. Given the right climate, we can do that. So I encourage you to vote for Diane Williams Cox as your next city commissioner for seat 5. Thank you.
I'd like to continue with the theme on business development. I think everybody here is interested in that, and the fellow candidates have. There are good efforts going on here. Domi Station is one of them. They're trying to really leverage the Mag Lab into bringing more business opportunities into town, and I think that's working out. I'm actually meeting with Dr. Ostrander at FSU later today, who oversees that, to learn more about it. I hope on your way out you'll take a moment and check out a concept we put together. It's based on the Boston Freedom Trail, which draws hundreds of thousands of people into Boston every year, and it's simply a painted line that links all the historic sites in Boston together. In Tallahassee, we've got a ton of history, but it's really never been packaged right and marketed right, and this is an effort to try to do that. I hope you take a look at it. Heritage and historic tourism is huge now, and it's just another way of filling hotels and restaurants and getting some more retail activity for the city. We don't have Mickey, we don't have beaches, but we do have history here. This is an effort to market it better and to put it all together. So please take a look at it. We do have our bicentennial coming up in 2024, so this would be a great thing to have done by then. And whether I'm elected or not, this is something we're going to be pushing forward with and trying to do well. Takes a website and a truckload of paint. We could have this thing going. It's that simple. So, but thank you for having us here today. We really appreciate it. And
candidates, we want to thank you all for coming. You know, today one of you may win the straw ballot, but the real election's coming up, and we wish all of you the best of luck. We hope that you've enjoyed today's forum. We hope that you will keep NEBA in mind, come to the future ones, and also, no matter who the winner is, we hope that you will establish a relationship and a working relationship with NEBA. I always laugh because Commissioner Proctor put it well last year when he said that we're a bunch of hard-headed people, but most of the time we know what we're talking about. So we do hope that you will establish that relationship. We look forward to seeing you all again soon, and thank you for coming today.